thoughts and opinions on all of the games, and we'll have a look at some of the results across the other leagues towards the end of the video as well. But let's get into it, because there were some big results in terms of top 4 and also in the relegation battle. We even had our first team confirmed relegated, but let me know your thoughts on the games in the comments below. And we'll begin here with Everton 1, Arsenal 1, goals from Iliman and Dye and Leandro Trossard. So, a draw in this one, and Arsenal drop more points in the Premier League title race. I say title race in quotation marks, not really a title race. I mean, yeah, we all sort of knew the title was done, but I mean, dropping more points like this almost solidifies that. I did think Arsenal weren't actually that bad though in this game. They were pretty good. They just couldn't really put their chances away when they got them. Leandro Trossard did score a nice goal, and they were a little hard done by with the penalty. Lewis Skelly brought down Jack Harrison, but I think it was a little bit harsh because they were both sort of tussling each other. And yeah, I personally don't think it was a pen, but I think, you know, once a referee gives it on the field, I don't think VAR were going to get involved, to be honest, but I don't think it was a penalty. So as I said, Arsenal can feel a little bit hard done by that they didn't win this game, but yeah, I mean, they rested and rotated a little bit. Like, Bukayo Saka didn't start a game on at half time. Odegaard, Martinelli didn't start either. Obviously they have Real Madrid, which is a big one coming up in the week, so the Premier League they don't really care about, but I think the performance was okay going into the Real Madrid game. So yeah, it'll be interesting what happens there, but really two teams who this game doesn't really mean much for them. Both of them, their seasons are over, they're not really playing for anything, so ended up 1-1. I will also say David Raya, by the way, is maybe the worst penalty saver I think I've ever seen. This guy, literally, every single penalty he has to save, he dives so early. He did it in the FA Cup versus United, and he did it again versus Iliman and Dye. Guy literally dived before he was already on the floor by the time and Dye had already before and Dye had even taken a shot. So yeah, but that's just a side note. Anyways, ends 1-1. Next up we have Crystal Palace 2, Brighton 1. Goals from John Fleet Mateta, Daniel Munoz and Danny Welbeck. And there was a red card for Eddie Nketiah, Margay and Jean-Paul Van Heck. I mean, wow. The M23 derby, which a little bit of a fake derby, but it delivered a banger here. I must say, we all sort of like mock it because it's not like a proper rivalry, but I mean, this was feisty and it was an absolute classic. 3 red cards in one game. Absolutely mental. And I mean, all of them can't really have too many complaints. I mean, maybe Eddie Nketiah, he was put for a second yellow. His first yellow was for diving, but I don't think it was actually a dive by him. But then his second one was a pretty bad one, and to be honest, could arguably be a red on its own. Same thing for Mark Gay. And then Van Heck, yeah, I mean, he took someone down for on goal. It was a clear one. But 9 men, Crystal Palace, somehow hold on to a victory over their rivals, and they played fantastic. They played absolutely brilliantly, counter-attacking football at its best by Palace, and 2 wonderful goals. Jean-Philippe Mateta with an absolute banger back amongst the goals. Daniel Munoz though was absolutely terrific again. Really nice goal, and we're just up and down everywhere. Eze with 2 assists, the star of the show. He has really, really come into his own in the last few weeks. And shout out to Dean Henderson as well, because he made some superb saves. He made a double save in this one, and he made a fantastic save late on versus Yasin Ayari in like the 90 plus 13th. Yeah, there we go. It was a brilliant save to hold on to the victory, which Palace did. And yeah, big victory for them. Brighton, it's a poor one. They didn't really play too well. They got called out on the counter quite easily by Palace, and yeah, losing to your rivals is not good, and it's more ground loss in the European race for Brighton after the loss to Villa in midweek. So not good at all for them, but fantastic for Palace. Yeah, what a week it's been for them. Getting to the FA Cup semis and now beating their rivals. So well done to them. Next up, we have Ipswich 1, Wolverhampton 2. Goals from Liam Delap, Pablo Sarabia, and Jürgen Strand Larsen. One of the biggest and most important games actually of the season. Ipswich vs Wolves. Going into this, Ipswich were, I believe, 6 points away. Actually, yes, 6 points away from Wolves, who were just outside the relegation zone. So it was pretty much do or die here. If Wolves beat them, Ipswich would pretty much be relegated, and that is what happened. A fairly late comeback from Wolves to get the win, and they move 12 points clear of Ipswich, which is surely at this stage in the season going to be far too big for Ipswich to overcome. I mean, Kieran McKenna pretty much admitted it afterwards as well, so this game has pretty much relegated Ipswich at this point, but incredible performance by Wolves, particularly in the second half, to turn that around was superb. Thoroughly deserved it. Pablo Sarabia came on and was absolutely superb, but Strand Larsen, all game was absolutely unreal up top for Wolves. His part in the Sarabia goal too was not to be understated. And yes, Strand Larsen has really hit a good patch of form recently. He's been a great addition for Wolves this season, I think, up front, and yeah, got the goal, which I guess pretty much keeps Wolves up at this point. So yeah, fantastic performance by Wolves. Vita Pereira's done a fantastic job since he's come in. Wolves, it's a couple wins on the bounce now. But yeah, Ipswich really poor to jug it away like that late on. But to be honest, they rode their luck throughout the game. Wolves were definitely the better side, and as I said, it looks like Ipswich are probably going down. I mean, fair play to them, they gave it a fight, they gave it all they could. But in the end, Ipswich just, I don't think, had the quality in their squad to stay up like most people expected, to be honest. So yeah. Next up is West Ham 2, Bournemouth 2. Goals from Nicholas Fulklug, Jared Bowen, and a brace from Evan Nielsen. So Bournemouth drop points in this one. A bit of a collapse inside 7 minutes, and they draw versus West Ham. Yeah, Bournemouth were easily the better side in this one. They were thoroughly dominant, they had the better chances, but a fantastic header from Nicholas Fulklug, who has really not played too much for West Ham due to injury and not really done much in a West Ham shirt, with a bullet header, and then Jared Bowen just 7 minutes later with a goal to turn it around. But then Evan Nielsen did manage to rescue a point for Bournemouth. They did almost win it through some menu late on, but Areola made a great stop, although he was at fault severely for the first goal. Evan Nilsson managed to get a brace, and overall in this game, not just for goals, was absolutely superb. Absolutely wonderful for Bournemouth. Like Strand Larsen, he's hit a real nice reign of form and is doing really well, but Bournemouth, it's more dropped points after the loss to Ipswich midweek. They really had to win this to stand any chance of getting European football, but yeah, to drop points here is just, it's not really good enough if they want to be pushing for Europe, and it's another game without a win for Bournemouth, who are just slowly slipping away in this European race. And West Ham, yeah, it's good to avoid defeat and get a point in this one, but yeah, their season's pretty much over. They're very much on the beach with nothing to play for at this point, and just looking for performances and trying to build something under Potter, and I think they were okay in this one. Right, next up we have Aston Villa 2, Nottingham Forest 1, goals from Morgan Rogers, Donyell Marlin and Jota Silva. Aston Villa versus Forest, this one was an absolute banger compared to the other games. Yeah, this was absolutely brilliant. Such a fun watch, such a great game to watch, and Villa come out on top just about. I mean, it was a tale of two halves really. Villa started like a house on fire. First 15 minutes, 2 goals up. They were absolutely destroying Forest early on in the game. Mainly like the first 30 minutes, they were all over them, and it looked really comfortable. Rogers, unreal goal, unreal touch and finish, unreal pass from Yuri Tielemans, who's had a great season. For Onana returned and was really good. Donyell Marlin got another goal after scoring his first one in midweek. The fullbacks were just absolutely killing Forest, who went to a back five, but it clearly was not working. But then they change it in the second half. Elanga comes off, Jota Silva comes on, and then look at this, it completely swings. And Forest absolutely battered Villa in that second half. We get a goal for Jota Silva, the substitute, who was really good when he came on, and they really probably should have actually scored. Again, they had plenty of chances. Murillo hit the bar late on. Anderson had a great chance. Hudson-Odoi had some good chances. Nico Williams had one. Yeah, they were really unfortunate for us not to get anything from that game, and it was a really bad performance in the second half by Villa, who just about held on. To be fair, they did have some chances themselves to kill it off. Rashford had a good chance. Sells made some good saves, but yeah, in the end, Villa managed to hold on to the 2-1 victory, and that is absolutely huge for Villa, because not only does it massively boost them in the top 4 race, but it keeps their momentum going into that massive Champions League quarter-final versus PSG in midweek. I think that's like 5-6 wins or something in a row now in all competitions for Villa. Fantastic week, winning 3-0 against Brighton, beat Forest now. So as I said, just building that momentum going into a hefty tie against PSG, which is going to be really tough, but they get the win, and it's really big in the top 4 race, particularly as we'll get on to a lot of their rivals in the top 4 battle dropped points this weekend, so Villa gained, and huge for them. Not great for Forest though, who do drop points in the top 4 battle, but as I mentioned, they'll be pretty relieved considering a lot of other contenders behind them did drop points as well, such as Chelsea, who drew 0-0 versus Brentford. Yeah, not the best game. I mean, the first half was very boring. Not a lot happened, literally nothing from both teams, to be honest. Didn't really offer too much, but second half Chelsea were by far the better team, and very unlucky not to get anything in that second half. We rested some players, had to rotate expected this, considering our lineup, like Dewsbury all had to come in, and Nkunku was playing up front. No Cucurella, no Palmer, no Jackson. Which is understandable because Palmer and Jackson are only just coming back from injury, and we played them midweek. We don't want them to get injured again because we do need them for the rest of the season. But they came on second half and completely changed the games in with Nello. From that point on, we were by far the better team and very dominant, but in the final third we just lacked. But look, I'm not too angry about this result. Brentford are always a tough team to play, and I think, as I said, overall second half performance was pretty decent. I'm disappointed we did drop points because I think the game was there to be won, and we definitely could have won that game, but I mean, a draw against Brentford isn't the worst result in the world for us in the top 4 race, and it's particularly with, as we'll get on to another team in the top 4 battle, dropping points is not the end of the world. And I thought the performance in the second half was okay, but first half wasn't great, and I'll take the point, to be honest. Disappointed we didn't win, but a point isn't the end of the world, and for Brentford, to be honest, I was expecting a little bit more from them. I thought they were quite poor, They really didn't offer us too many threats going forward. Had a couple chances, which Sanchez made some decent saves, but I was expecting them to be a little bit better, if I'm being completely honest. But it ends 0-0 that one. Next up, we have Fulham 3, Liverpool 2. Got some Ryan Sessing on Alex Iwobi, Rodrigo Muniz, Alexis McAllister, and Luis Diaz. So, Fulham beat Liverpool in this one, handing them their first away loss in the Premier League season. A bit of a shock here, and I think this is also the first time I think this first time Liverpool have conceded 3 goals in the first half of a game in like 4 years or something. Is pretty mad, but what a victory and what a performance from Fulham first off, before we get into Liverpool here, because you gotta give Fulham their credit. Absolutely superb. Since the international break, they haven't had the best of results. Lost in the FA Cup and lost midweek as well to Arsenal, but this was exactly the result they needed to reignite their European hopes. Beating Liverpool like they did, and it wasn't like lucky. They were actually played very well in this game. They took their chances when they were presented to them and defended very well. First half were definitely the better side. I mean, look at that. To restrict Liverpool to just 2 shots in an entire half is very impressive. And then second half, defensively brilliant to just hold on. Liverpool were better in the second half, but Fulham defended that lead and they held on to that victory, which is absolutely huge for them in that race for Europe. Firmly puts them in contention. As for Liverpool, though, I mean, what an awful performance. I mean, this defence, what the hell, this back 5. You can see from their ratings, not one of them got over a 6. It was an absolute disaster class from all of these guys. I mean, for every goal, like Robertson had a howler for, I think, the Iwobi one. Van Dijk had a howler for the Muniz one. Canate was just getting caught on the ball every single time. Curtis Jones, I mean, it was a bit unlucky, but the Sesson one got deflects off him. Keller probably should have saved some of them. I mean, it was just absolutely abysmal. It was an absolute clown show at the back by Liverpool today. And they got punished for it. And in the attack as well, these guys can't get away with it too. Mo Salah, I mean, what on earth has happened to this guy? Honestly, to be honest, he always does this. He really does. Second half of the season, Salah just always goes missing. I'm not gonna lie. Like, every single season, when it comes to like the last 10 games or so of the season, this guy just does nothing, and yet again, another really poor game from him. And then yet again, if Salah does nothing, none of the other attackers seem to contribute anything. But yeah, I mean, the only ones, Gravenberch and McAllister, can hold their heads up high. McAllister scored a great goal. Diaz as well off the bench. He's in that purple patch form, but yeah, really poor from Liverpool. I mean, of course they're gonna win the league, but I mean they're sort of limping to the title right now. It's not really the best way to go out. They want to go out, win this title on a high, but yeah, really poor performance and a big win for Fulham. Next up, we have Tottenham 3, Southampton 1. 2 goals from Brennan Johnson, a goal from Matthias Tell and Fernandes. So, Tottenham beat Southampton here, and this officially confirms our first relegated team of the Premier League season. Southampton are officially relegated and have become the first team in Premier League history to be relegated with 7 games remaining. The earliest any team has ever been relegated. And yeah, I mean, to be honest, they were a little bit unlucky to lose this game because, I mean, they started off pretty poor, but the second half they were quite good, and they ended it really well. They managed to get a goal back, and it almost felt like they were going to level it up, but yeah, in the end, a Matthias Tell penalty, his first Spurs goal, was the goal that officially, I guess, relegated Southampton. And I mean, if we're talking as a whole of the season for Southampton, just been an absolute dismal campaign. Then most of us thought going into the season they would go straight back down. I didn't think they would be this bad though. But yeah, I mean, it just the quality in the squad is just simply not there. There's barely any players in here who are really Premier League quality players. They've chopped and changed with managers. I think Ivan Juric has actually done a pretty decent job since he's come in. In terms of performances, I think they've done pretty decent. Like, again, for example, in this game, they weren't that bad. They were pretty decent. But yet again, the quality at the back, the defending, the quality in the final third, it's just not there. It's just not there, and yeah, it's been awful. But I guess for them, they just gotta get past that Derby points record, and who knows as well. We sort of see, I see it a lot with teams where once they get confirmed or relegated, they sort of just play with no fear and pressure, and they actually start doing pretty well. So yeah, maybe Southampton could do that, but yeah, what an awful season for them. As for Spurs, I mean, it wasn't an amazing performance, particularly in the second half, but they get the win, which is all that matters, and they needed that going into the massive Europa League tie they have against Frankfurt in the week. Obviously, the Europa League is their main priority now. The Premier League is done. It's good to get some momentum here, and they rested a couple players, like Van de Ven, Doggy, and yeah, it was good to get a win under their belt going into that game, which is going to be the all-important one for them. Right, and finally we have the Manchester derby, Man United 0, Manchester City 0. I say Manchester derby, but this really was far from a derby game. Honestly, maybe the most boring game of the entire season. Look at that, I mean, it was absolute dross. It was absolute dross. Both teams, then we sort of all knew going into this, both teams are really not where they were even a few years ago, but I was expecting more than that, to be honest. Like, there was no intensity, no intent to win from either side, and a real lack of quality on display. Like, the only sort of half chances that were there were just completely floundered. Like, Foden had a great chance, completely messes it up. Garnacho was in a couple times, completely messes it up. The only player on that pitch who had an ounce of quality was Bruno Fernandes, who yet again absolutely brilliant in this game, and was the only player on both teams who looked like he was actually going to create a chance, was actually going to do something in this game. Yeah, both teams really poor. I mean, yeah, to be honest, I'm more annoyed at Man City, really. I thought, you know, given how poor United have been, you could really try and take the game to them. You're in a top 4 battle. You need to win more than them. United, yeah, I'm not too annoyed about them, really. I can't really slate them too much. Similar to Spurs, they're not playing for anything in the Prem, and they've got a big game midweek against Lyon in the Europa League, so I'm not going to get too annoyed about them not showing the intensity and intent to win. But Man City, you're in a top 4 battle, surely you gotta show a bit more drive, a bit more passion, a bit more, as I said, intent to win the game. It never felt like at any point Man City were truly trying to win the game. They sort of just said, okay, we're sort of content with the point, and if a goal comes, it comes. I thought Jeremy Doku, as well, when he came on, was one of the only bright sparks for City, but yeah, ends 0-0, and City drop points in the top 4 battle, which, yeah, as I said, it was a real opportunity for them as well, with Chelsea dropping points for them to leapfrog Chelsea, but it didn't happen. So, as a result, this is the Premier League table now. So Liverpool are 11 points clear at the top. Nottingham Forest remain in 3rd. Chelsea remain in 4th. Man City in 5th. I should note as well, of course, Newcastle are playing Leicester tonight. But that's before I record it. If they win that, they will go above Man City and level on points with Chelsea in 4th. So a big game there. Villa are temporarily in 6th spot. Fulham have moved up to 8th as well. And yeah, United and Spurs remain in 13th and 14th. Wolves are 12 points clear of Ipswich, and the bottom 3 remain the same, with Southampton officially relegated. Right, so just before we go, we'll have a little look at some of the results across Europe, because there were some real twists in some of the title races. So, in Spain, there was some real big twists, because Real Madrid, just before their Champions League tie against Arsenal fans will be very happy to see this and encouraged, because Real Madrid at home lost to Valencia in the 95th minute, a dagger by Duro, and yeah, they dropped points in the title race. Really bad preparation before the Arsenal game, so as I said, Arsenal fans will feel very encouraged that they can beat Real Madrid based on this result. Vinicius Jr. missed another penalty in this game. I don't know why he's taking pens after that miss against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League. Like, surely it should be Mbappe, but Real Madrid were grateful for Real Betis, because Betis drew against Barca later on in the day, meaning that Madrid get a little bit of a reprieve, and Barcelona failed to take advantage of potentially going, I think, 6 points clear. They had won this game of Real Madrid, which would have been fantastic for them, but they dropped points versus Betis as well. And then, Atletico Madrid keep their hopes alive with a 93rd minute Pablo Barrios goal, and that actually is kind of huge, because with Real Madrid and Barcelona dropping points, maybe, just maybe, Atletico could sneak it in. They're 7 points off now, Barcelona, which is still quite a bit, but who knows, maybe they could do it. And now Barca moved 4 points clear of Real Madrid, but yeah, so he did gain a point on them, but it could have been so much more there. We'll go to the Championship as well, because there was a twist there in their promotion race. So there was some dropped points by the big boys. So Burnley managed to beat Coventry away, a very, very impressive victory against Coventry 2-1. And this became even more important because Leeds dropped more points again, this time versus struggling Luton, drawing 1-1, and then Sheffield United got a shock loss versus Oxford United 1-0, meaning Burnley are now top of the Championship with 84 points. Sheffield are in second, and Leeds have dropped out of the top two. So yeah, big twist there in the title race in there, and also in the bottom in the relegation battle. Plymouth beat Norwich, and of course Luton gained a point. So yeah, these guys are battling down at the bottom. Cardiff drew and Derby lost, so a lot to play for still in the Championship. Bundesliga, there was also some title stuff and almost a big twist with Augsburg and Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich just about turning around a deficit. They were 1-0 down versus Bayern, versus Augsburg, but a red card, and then resulting from a free kick, Bayern scored to take the lead. But Jamal Musiala did pick up an injury, and I believe it's out for a few weeks now. So a massive, massive loss for Bayern Munich, because he's been arguably their best player this season, Musiala, just before the Champions League as well. Not ideal. And who knows, that could have a real effect with Davis gone and Upamecano gone and Neuer gone. I mean, look at these injuries right now for Bayern. It's not good, and that is gonna give Leverkusen some hope, who just about kept their hopes alive with another classic Leverkusen 91st minute winner to keep their title hopes alive. And yeah, maybe with those Bayern Munich injuries now stacking up, Leverkusen could potentially do it. Dortmund as well keep their hopes of a potential late Champions League push alive with a really big 4-1 win over Freiburg ahead of the Champions League tie against Bayern Munich is huge. Frankfurt losing as well means Dortmund are now just 5 points away from the top 4, so really, really interesting what happens here in this top 4 battle, but it remains just 6 points separating the top 2. Serie A also saw some twists at the top. Inter Milan, shock really, they were 2-0 up versus, where is it? Yeah, they were 2-0 up versus Parma, and they chucked it away. That could be absolutely crucial, a bit of a shock here, and not good preparation going into their Champions League tie against Bayern Munich. But Napoli still have to play Bologna on Mondays, which is a tough game, so let's see if Napoli win that, because if they do, Napoli will go within 1 point of Inter Milan, so could be huge. A lot of the top 8 played each other as well. Milan drew to Fiorentina 2-2. After he went 2-0 down in 10 minutes, Milan pulled it back to make it 2-2. David De Gea as well was unreal for Fiorentina in this one. Lazio beat Atalanta. Atalanta their 3rd straight defeat in a row, and Atalanta now have been dragged into the top 4 race with that loss, because if I show you the table, I mean, they are only, 2 points away from Juve, but the Roma Juve game is currently in play whilst I'm recording this, and it is 1-1 actually. Shmorodov managed to score, so that's a big game in the top 4 race as well. But yeah, look how tight this is right now. And Atalanta, I mean, what a travesty it would be if they didn't even get top 4 after their title race. And we'll go over to Ligue 1 because finally their PSG maintain their unbeaten run. 1-0 win over Angers. Good prep before the Villa tie, and they did actually mathematically secure the Ligue 1 title. So yeah, I mean, it was sort of inevitable, but they managed to secure it. Managed to get the win, and very well done to them. It's been an unreal season from them. There were some twists in the top 4 race, though. Lyon managed to beat Lille 2-1, which is massive, because the table now looks like this. Monaco lost as well, so Strasbourg are actually in 4th, Lyon are in 5th, and Lille dropped to 7th, so very tight there. But of course the title is wrapped up now officially in Ligue 1, the first of the major top 5 leagues to officially wrap up the title. But let's see if PSG can go invincible. But there we go, that is the review. Let me know your thoughts on any of the games we discussed. If you guys have enjoyed, please do leave a like, consider subscribing.